Hindi lahat na nag-abroad umaasenso. That's uncomfortable to admit. Because from the outside, ang dali kasing isipin na once you move abroad, automatic na ang asenso. Parang ang tingin ng iba, dollars na agad, ganda na ng buhay, stable na, okay na lahat. But when you live here long enough, you start seeing something else. You realize na may mga tao na matagal na sa abroad, pero parang lagi pa ring humahabol. Still tired, still stressed, still one emergency away from panic. So I wanted to sit with that question. Why do some immigrants quietly build real stability while others work hard for years and still feel stuck? Because I don't think the answer is tamad lang sila. I think the answer is deeper than that. So first, this video is not about judging immigrants, and it's definitely not about mocking struggle. This is really about trying to understand something honestly. Because when I started looking into the broader immigrant picture in Canada, a few things stood out. Statistic Canada reported that in 2024-2025, 32.6% of recent immigrants with post-secondary qualifications were overqualified for their jobs, compared with 19.1% of people born in Canada. And among recent immigrants with post-secondary credentials, 20.8% were working in jobs not related to their field. So right away, that tells you something important. Hard work alone is not the whole story. Because a lot of immigrants are working hard. The real question is, where is the work going? What system is feeding? And is it actually building anything long term? And on top of that, the cost of living is still real. In January 2026, rent prices in Canada were up 4.3% year over year. So if you combine high pressure, living costs, underemployment, family expectation, and no clear money system, then yes, you can work very hard and still feel financially stuck. Kasi in reality, hard work without a system can become a very expensive treadmill. The first, some people are earning in dollars but still living in survival mode. Just because someone earns in dollars does not mean they're building wealth. Sometimes it just means they are surviving in a more expensive currency. And I think this is where a lot of outsiders get confused. They see Canada, US, abroad, foreign income, and they assume success, but they don't always see the rent, the debt, the remittances, the underemployment, the long hours, or the exhaustion. So, yes, you can earn more, but if the structure around you is heavier, the money can still disappear very fast. Second, the credential trap is real. A lot of immigrants arrive with degrees, experience, professional identity, and real capability, but many still land in jobs far below their training. That's not just a feeling. The data supports it, and once a person gets trapped in survival mode, it becomes harder to study again, relicense, upgrade, or rebuild toward the original earning power. So over time, the problem is not just I started lower. The problem becomes I stayed there too long, and that's a very different kind of trap. Third, flex culture can hide financial fragility. Sometimes the pressure to look okay becomes stronger than the discipline to actually become okay. I'm not even saying this to shame anyone. I get it. When you sacrifice a lot, of course you want to feel like may bunga naman. But this is where people get trapped in expensive car payment, lifestyle inflation, store financing credit card, spending, and trying to prove that moving abroad was worth it. And honestly, social media makes this worse because now the pressure is not just kailangan kong maging okay. It becomes kailangan mukhang okay din ako. And those are very different things. Fourth, boundaries matter more than people admit. Many Pinoys abroad feel real pressure to help family back home. And helping family is not a bad thing. But here's the important distinction. Support is healthy until it destroys your own stability. Because if every increase in income becomes more padala, more pressure, more rescue, more guilt, more expectation, then your own future keeps getting pushed back. And that's where a lot of people quietly break. Not because they don't love their family, but because nobody taught them that. Boundaries are also part of financial maturity. Helping is good, but if you keep helping from an unstable place, one day, ikaw naman ang mauubos. I'd be careful where I agree. Many immigrants are trapped in a cycle where they work hard, but the work does not always convert into assets, peace of mind, or long term mobility. And looking successful is not the same as becoming financially stronger. Where I'd be careful, this is not a simple problem. It's not just bad spending or wrong choices, there are bigger forces: job mismatch, higher living costs, delayed credential recognition, housing pressure, and social pressure. So the fairer frame is this: many people are not failing because they are lazy. They're stuck in systems that make progress slower and heavier. Being abroad can improve your income without improving your financial operating system. And if the system doesn't change, the location alone won't save you. So if someone brings no clear budget, no boundaries, no asset plan, no upskilling strategy, right? Then sometimes all that changes is the currency, not the cycle. Minsan, hindi ka kulang sa sipag. Kulang ka lang sa system na may papuntahan. So these are the questions that naturally came to mind. Why do some people abroad earn more but still struggle to build net worth? How much of the problem is lifestyle? And how much is structural? At what point does sacrifice stop being noble and start becoming financially dangerous? So, if I had to reduce this into practical takeaways, I'd say this: hard work is not enough if it is not building anything. Upskilling matters. Sometimes the best move is not more hours, but a better lane. Boundaries are financial tools. If money keeps leaking through pressure and guilt, it becomes hard to build stability. Looking successful is expensive. Bago ang flex, unahin muna ang foundation. The goal is not to look rich abroad. The goal is to stop being fragile abroad. This is not a stop buying things video, and it's not immigrants are irresponsible. This is still needs compassions because many people abroad are carrying big hopes, big responsibilities, big pressure, But compassion also needs honesty. If you keep sacrificing your future stability to maintain appearances or expectations, the cycle will continue. I'm not here to say maging madamot ka. I'm not saying walang hope abroad. I'm just sharing what stood out to me. For me, the biggest takeaway is this: moving abroad can change your income. But if you don't rebuild your system, it may not change your financial future. But that also empowering. Because if the problem is system based, then the solution is not just work harder. It's better structure, better boundaries, better strategy. The dream is not broken, but sometimes the system underneath it is. If you want to stop the broke abroad cycle, start simple. Number one, face the numbers. Know your total debts, your liquid savings, and whether you're actually building or just surviving. Number two, set a remittance boundary. Help if you can, but make it fixed, clear, and sustainable. Number three, invest in your earning power. If you're stuck in underemployment, ask what skill, certification, or licensing step can improve my next 5 years. Number four, stop funding appearances. Before a big lifestyle purchase, ask this: is this making me stronger or just making me look stronger? Bago ang flex, unahin muna ang foundation. Ikaw, what do you think is the hardest money trap for Pinoys abroad to escape? Family pressure, flex culture, survival mode, or job mismatch? Comment mo nga sa baba, sa baba. Curious ako, what hits hardest for you? If you want simple, real talk about money, follow along, follow lang. We break it down so we can build wealth step by step, di instant, pero posible.